Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. This is actually part 6 of our playthrough of Gloom of Kilforth. There is a handful of things I want to go over before we get into the actual day for Vognus and his next journey. So I'm going to go through those one at a time. First thing is, at the very end of the last term, we were in the Lost Forest, and miraculously we were able to find a rumor of a horse rider there. Now, when I found this horse rider, it came into my hand as a rumor. I thought I was out of AP, but I'd totally forgotten I'd gained the Spyglass, which gains me 1 Discover AP, which is discovering is exactly what you need to do with a rumor when you're at that location in order to put it as an asset into play. So I could have used a token at that time to do it. However, we'll do it at the beginning of the next turn, so not too much loss there anyway. So not really a mistake, just more of a FYI. Second thing, the Lost Village actually had a keyword that we were talking about during the video, and that was the map trophy. It said perform a free market action. I did get confirmation not only from the rulebook but from you guys as well, and I want to thank you for that, letting me know that when we successfully overcome this encounter, we are able to perform a free market action if we so choose. Even though I have money, am not going to do it though, and there's a reason for that. And I do think there's a great ability with this, because if I had the gold to spare, you could go ahead and perform a free market action, and then apparently by buying that item, it immediately can go into play in your area, which would be a huge advantage. But the downside for me is that I still really need 5 gold in order to get our chapter 1 out of the way, which is still just kind of sitting here. We really need to get this particular beginning chapter out of the way. I'm kind of slogging through it that way. So I have to kind of ignore that free market action, sadly, and just continue on as I had. So sadly, we won't be doing that. The other thing I want to make mention of is when we got KO'd. We got KO'd and we landed ourselves afterwards. Of course, when you get KO'd, you go back to Sprawl City. You're only supposed to recover 2 HP, not 4. So that was the only mistake I made when I KO'd myself. The only fun thing with this is that normally I would take myself down to 2 HP, but I've already gone ahead and played around, so we can't really go back and reverse that, because if I was to reverse that, there'd be way too many changes to do. Vognus has had enough bad luck already, so to be totally honest, I think I'm going to cut him some slack this time and not reduce his HP by 2, but just so that you're aware when you're playing the game, if you are in fact KO'd, you go to Sprawl City and you only regain 2 HP, okay? The other thing is the Orc Assassin came out at the end of the last game, and it said right here, discard a stranger from play, so we went ahead and did that. The only thing we didn't do was after the Endless Brackens fell into Gloom, which we did do here on the flip by flipping the card, we just didn't pull a Badlands plot card to go along with it, thanks to our wonderful Abbess of Penance, which is constantly messing with us. So we're going to have to pull a plot card right now for that, and that's kind of one downside. Now the other thing, this one's totally separate, and outside of the comments I'd made on the previous video of some things I wanted to change, or let you guys be aware of, but I made a quick check of how many night cards have already been played to this point, and actually, for some crazy reason, even with a subscriber on the channel, I believe Scott was the one who went back and checked this, I double checked it again. We are currently at 9 locations in Gloom, which means 9 night cards have been pulled to this point, but my counter is off by 1. So again, this is just for my own reference, this whole counter thing. Again, I'm obviously not doing a very good job of updating it. You don't do this in the typical rules. You just forget these dice, not even use them. You'd be just focusing on the night deck. When it's depleted, you're done. You have 25 full days, but there's like, you know, there's so many night cards in that deck, and once those night cards are gone, it's over. I think by doing this counter thing, even though I thought it was going to be a good idea, has actually caused me probably more grief than anything, but I'm going to continue doing it just so that I can kind of get a heads up as to how close we are. But we do, in fact, have 9 location or night cards in play, and those 9 night cards have flipped or fallen 9 locations into Gloom to date. So we are going to go ahead now and begin the next turn. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a really high level look at the board currently as to what's going on there. So on the top here we have Gloom, Gloom, Gloom. We have Gloom here. We have Gloom here. We have Gloom here. Gloom here. Gloom here. Gloom here. I believe that's all of them unless I missed one. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit going on there, but we still have lots of locations that are free and empty. So we're going to start our next turn, and the very first thing we do is pull that plot card to make sure we don't forget about that. So this is a plot card coming in. It's called the Colony of Penance. And it's a quest to destroy. This house of rot has come together because the people are without hope. You can see the pain and madness etched into their expressions, and the air is thick with a palpable remorse. It will take the concerted efforts of a brave few to give these poor souls a new direction, but the longer you stay here, the more you begin to feel the futility set in. To defeat, heroes must lose a gold, sadly, and it's an ancient ability during battle. Treat all skills as though their ability text and attribute bonuses are blank. Wow. Okay, so we need to get that out of there. The good thing is it landed right here with the Orc Assassins. So we are within range to go deal with that plot card. So it's here. We got 2 of them on the board now we really have to deal with. But the good thing is Vognus is on the right side of the board for that kind of stuff. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to focus on is moving into essentially what would be breaking camp, and we're going to be grabbing our AP for the day and kind of getting squared away. Just to make a quick recap as I throw the wonderful AP tokens onto Vognus's character. Oh, and again, of course, we are not hidden. We never get to stay hidden throughout the night, so that is gone. We are down to 1 fate token, but remember, we can always use rumors in our hands, which we have quite a few of, in order to discard, in order to get a success when we're doing a check. We really, really need to focus on this chapter. That's the main point. I'm trying to get to the Rosen Crusader. That's my main goal this round. We'll see how close I can get. I may just try to book it there really, really quick, because if we get it, we can potentially make a regale action this turn and move forward, which would be awesome. So what we're going to do to start off our turn here, now that we've kind of cleared everything out of the way, I think everything night cards are done, so we can just begin clean. So we've got 4 AP to spend. We obviously do not want to forget about our wonderful spyglass that we talked about before, which allows us to gain 1 discover AP. I'm going to use this right now, and this is going to allow me, because we are at the Lost Forest, to discover the Horse Rider. This is going to be the first asset I've ever put into play, and I can tell you, if you're playing this game, guys, and you're playing this for the first time, second time, anytime, do not wait until there's 9 night cards out until you put your first asset into play. I can tell you that's going to come back to bite me huge, but we're going to keep on moving through. This is good because this card really allows me quite a bit. So currently what it says is you can veil this card as a deed. Deeds are free. They do not require any AP, and you can go ahead and veil it, and when you do so, you gain 1 AP. Now, veil, the word veil makes... it's a little confusing, but essentially what they're trying to say is when you veil, you're tapping. That's essentially what you're doing. It's only a 1 use per day type thing, and at the end of the day, it unveils, right? We haven't had to worry about that, but in between days, we can unveil the card and use it the next day, that type of thing, but you can only use it once a day. So the really cool thing is that I can potentially, move myself into... I guess I could head myself to the Grand Plains here. This is what I'm trying to get to. Every time we move into a location that doesn't have an encounter, the nasty thing is that we are going to have to suffer whatever consequences are coming our way that way. So I'm just trying to think. We could go to the plains. Every time we've gone to the mountains so far, it's been really nasty. As long as I don't end my turn in Verdant Fields, I will lose an HP. But the real risk there is if I get into a battle that takes away my AP, I could get stuck there. So I'm going to choose to actually go ahead and head this way, even though this sounds like a bad idea. So Vognus is going to leave the Lost Forest for 1 AP, but before he does so, I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to go hidden because I want to be sure I have an advantage into combat, and of course 1 for moving. So we've spent 2 AP to head ourselves into the Rising Bluffs, and because we're in the Rising Bluffs, we can now go ahead and pull a card to see what we run into. Okay, we found ourselves a quest. Interesting. It's called Vengeance. It's got a mountain destroy quest. It says they burned your home and killed your family without a second thought. Find their home and take your revenge. Oh, very cool. So essentially we can make a check here using our, I believe that is study, in order to succeed, or influence. And our influence is much better because we have a 2 and a 2 versus just a 3. So we could try to defeat this. Now if we do, the worst part about this is I would have wanted something with more gold. So that's the downside of this particular card, is that I really needed an encounter that was going to give me gold before I get over here, because we need, in order to get past this chapter 1 card, we need 5 gold to do the regale action plus all the keywords. We only have 2. So if I was to defeat this, I'd probably be going for a loot bag token hoping for gold, and I guess we can do that and see if it pans out, because at the end of the day we were not going to be able to regale anything if we don't, although we will have a chance to crush this encounter and potentially get some gold from this. So we can get 2 gold here. We have 2, so we need to get at least 1 from here. So let's try. Let's try right now, I guess, to try to defeat this. So we're gonna go ahead and make a, kind of an attempt on this quest. And I'm just gonna do a quick look here to see if there's any special, because this is the very first time, again, I've done a any kind of confront. This is a confront action on the quest. I just want to make sure I get it right. So of course we test any, it's very, very similar to place. So we just have to follow the exact same rules. We're just trying to defeat an attribute. You have to focus on the same one during the day, and you're trying to gain successes during that day, otherwise they disappear. So let's go ahead, grab our dice tray and see if we can take this on. All right, so we got, we're using our will, I guess is what they're calling it here. And so we've got 2 plus 2 is 4. And of course, if we're doing a confront, that is actually an AP spent. So we'll have 1 more roll. We basically, between 2 AP, need to get 3 or higher successes. And of course, I have Fate and Rumors to discard. And, oh, that was bad. Now this one's not even, now sometimes when they're like a little bit more like this, I let it go, but that one was so up on its side. If it's up on its side, I re-roll it. So, oh, that worked out. I wouldn't have counted this one anyway, but this is the one I roll. So I got 2 successes, thankfully. Nice ricochet there. It's good to see some successes coming my way. So what I could do is I could potentially burn a fate to defeat this, or I could use another AP to roll. It's kind of interesting. If I move into a location with a stranger, I don't have to encounter the stranger right away. So, but I don't want to end my space here because it's a grand plane. It's got I'd lose an HP. So let's stay here. So in that case, I'm okay with using my last AP within the Rising Bluffs in order to try to get this done. The next turn, we'll jump in there and see what we can do. We just need 1 success, and we got it. Thank goodness, because if I hadn't got a success, I would have burned a fate. That would have been a gigantic waste of my time. So that's good. We got that out of the way. So we got 3 successes on this card. So we move to the rewards. We can gain the total loot on the card, which is 0. So that's no fun. Or we can draw 1 loot token. So we're absolutely going to go into the bag and draw a loot token for our overcoming of the quest. So we went through the village here that was burned to the ground where my home was. And I got 1 gold. Look at that, what are the chances of that? Okay, that's so good. Okay, so we got 3 gold, which is exactly kind of going to plan. We don't have any AP left, so we immediately have to make camp at this point. I didn't spend, I'll go deal with the hidden thing in a second, but we didn't need the hidden because we didn't run into any kind of enemies. Of course, now that this is done, we still have the option to either we can take the encounter card into our hand, or we can draw a reward card. And this is where it gets interesting because we have a decently high study, and I know that this symbol right here is spells. So we could take this in order to get a spell, and that would be all well and good. I'm just debating whether or not that's going to be the wisest decision for us. I'm also going to look really quick at the rewards, because I want to see whether or not if we gain that reward, whether we can discard it. So we can draw from the reward deck that corresponds to the encounter's type as shown below. The hero then places the reward in their hand as a rumor. Okay, yeah, there's nothing else we can do there for gold per se. Shoot, do I want to spell or do I want something else? This could be good though. Having a quest destroy mountain could be really handy. Could be really handy for further chapters. Let's just take it into our hand. Having a rumor in hand could come in useful. Something that we can discard. I know having a spell would be useful, but I'm gonna take this into my hand. Again, these are all giving me keywords for future use. So I'm just gonna take it into my hand as a rumor, and we're gonna end it there. So essentially I've used all my AP now for the day. So we are at the end of the current day. So we're gonna go ahead and do our wonderful night phase. So, and of course, if we landed in a gloom spot, Vognus was safely out of that event. So he has nothing to worry about there. Technically, I do have the horse rider, and there's, I guess this is something that I missed right off the bat. Technically, when I did my move from here to here, I could go like this, which would technically have saved me 1 AP. So I have 1 AP, let's say, to do something here. Not sure if there's anything necessarily that I can even do when I'm at the Rising Bluffs, so it wasn't really worth it anyway, but that's kind of beyond the point. But I just want to make mention of the fact I could have used my horse rider in order to save 1 AP, but I don't have anything else I can really do here. I wouldn't want to try to discover, I wouldn't want to try to search at this point. That'd be a bad idea, bringing more cards. You can search when there's no encounters there and brings more cards into play, and I don't want that. That would be very bad. So I'm very happy to kind of end it here. And plus, guys, if I use my last action, regardless of whether it was the horse or coming from the AP, either of these two choices beside me here are both in Gloom, and I lose an HP. So there's no benefit to me doing that. I don't want to be in these spaces at the end of my turn. So regardless, we'll just kind of take it back to where it was, essentially. At the end of my turn, I used all my AP here. My horse I never used this turn, but I'll be using him next turn to get the heck out of there once I hopefully do a regale action. So, after all that being said, we can move into the night phase. So we're going to go ahead and do our night. We're not in a Gloom location, like I said, so no HP hit there. We're going to draw and resolve a night card, see what kind of nastiness comes our way. We got Besiege City. This is an event. It says, revealed. Heroes must pay 1 gold to move to or from Sprawl City until the end of the next day. Okay, so this is just an event. It just sits in play. And it's just basically if you're trying to head back to Sprawl City, I mean, it's already engulfed in civil war, so besieged makes perfect sense thematically. It's just a bad place to go right now, and people are paying in order to get into the city because of the civil war that's going on right now. So this is going to stay in play as an event for just, I believe, until the end of the next day. So basically, we'll put this up here, and we'll put a counter on it of 1, if I can find myself a nice die. And we'll just go like this, and at the end of the next day, that's going to disappear. Okay, typically I could throw that anywhere off to the side. Of course, we're gonna tick up our night cards used now to 10. So now we have 10 in effect, and of course we're going to take a look at what went into Gloom, the Barren Wastes. Where are the Barren Wastes? Guys, this is another Badlands location. You know what that means. So the wonderful location of Barren Wastes, right next to Sprawl City, where this Besiege City card came in, has fallen into Gloom. No. And another plot card comes out. So you can see how things start mounting at an almost uncontrollable rate if you're not on top of things. And I can tell you right now, I'm not. This is the Choir of Penance, and it says, these desperate souls see no option but to throw themselves at the mercy of the Abyss upon their inevitable advent. Flaying themselves every day, they will eventually be reduced to ribbons of flesh and succumb to the Abyss vile demands, or the Abyss vile demands for tribute and power. Unless you can show them that there is another power in the land, one that can be reckoned with. To defeat, sacrifice 1 spell. Oh, and I just didn't take a spell that last time. Oh, this is just not good. So this is going to end up, at least it's going to end up here. So I guess the positive in all of this is that all of my plot cards are very close to Vognus. So even though things seem to be spiraling out of control, at least it's within a certain range of influence for him. He can potentially get to these locations and deal with them. Obviously, the end of this ability right here would trigger later in the game if we don't defeat it. So we need a spell for this. We need to lose gold for this one. And this one up here says all heroes must lose HP. So currently things are getting a little bit sketch. But we need to get this chapter deck going. So we've gone ahead and done officially finished off that darkness phase by resolving the night card and the plot card. We've already put 1 card into Gloom as well and ticked up our tracker. So now we're moving into Dawn. So we discard all encounter successes. We don't have anything. We become unhidden, so our unhidden token disappears. And of course, we unveil any skills. We never use the horse rider, but unveiling means if we had used him for a free move, we bring it back. And then we go ahead and move on. So we can take our AP for our turn, and we're ready to rock for the next day. Now, it's currently, at least in this video, what we'll end up doing is we probably won't get through a whole day in this next segment here, but we'll probably get through, well, we should be able to get through the day potentially, but probably not the night, or we'll get caught up somewhere in the middle there and I'll end up stopping the video, but we'll pick it up in the next one. So we're going to go ahead with the next day here. Vognus is more than excited to get himself headed toward the Grand Plains. So what we're going to do in order to make his his life a little bit easier is he's going to use his Horse Rider Veil card, gain 1 move AP. We're gonna veil this card to give ourselves that 1 movement we need. Now there is an encounter card here, and so when you move in, if there is no encounter card, you pull one, but there is one there. So because there is one there already, if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna do a quick double check on the move ability, because I want to be sure that nothing else comes into play if it's a doom or it's a night related card that you're running into. So let's see, if you move in, if the hero location does not have an encounter, well, this is an encounter because it's a stranger, and stranger is one of the keywords, so it is. So there will be nothing pulled, which is great. So we're going to do our horse rider. It's going to be riding us from the Rising Bluffs. We're going to take the horse all the way over here to the Grand Plains, which is in Doom. Well, it's or in Gloom, I should say. I keep saying Doom. The Rosen Crusader is there, and we definitely want to confront that stranger. So we're going to go ahead and grab this card, and we're going to be doing a couple things. So the first thing we do is we obviously need to pay an AP in order to confront him. We're going to grab ourselves a dice tray, and I'm going to make some space here, try to anyway. And this right here is going to say, I'm definitely absolutely 100% going for influence, because our influence has always been our strongest suit and will continue to be so, at least for the foreseeable future until we get an upgrade here when we move to the next chapter. So we've got 4 dice. We're just now doing our first confront test against him. We just need 3 successes. So here goes nothing. Hey, there we go, guys. We got 2 successes. So we're going to put 2 successes onto, or I'm just going to use gold again to count these successes. We only need 1 more. So we'll spend 1 more AP here to confront him again to try to get our last success that we need. Easy. I didn't even need to re-roll that cocked one there. So we got our 3. We actually ended up getting 4. That's way more than enough. The awesome thing about that is I'm absolutely taking 2 gold. This is perfect timing. It's going to give me a total of 5 gold, which is exactly what we need. Now my question comes to be, do I keep this as a rumor in my hand, having a stranger and a noble, which I don't think I need, because I have a stranger and a noble here. I am going to lose this stranger and noble when I complete my quest. Maybe I will keep him. If I discard him, I get an ally, though. That could be really good. I'm going to discard him. I'm going to discard him and try to get an ally. So I'm going to let him go. We're going to pull an ally card and see what we get. We got the Pastor. Okay, interesting. It's going to help us on our will. He's an ally, and you can find him in the Green Meadows. Is the Green Meadow? Oh my gosh, the Green Meadows are way up there, so that's no good. But he at least is going to be somebody who we can potentially use, and then we got a new card in our hand here. So there we go. So there's our current hand of cards. Okay, now we are still currently in the middle of our turn, and we have 2 actions left. Guys, you know exactly what I plan to do here. It's going to be perfect. Now, I don't have any time in this video to do it. That's the worst thing. I'm sorry I'm going to have to leave you on a cliffhanger. But my plan with these last 2 actions is, first, a regale action here in the Grand Plains. We are going to complete this Rescue Villagers Chapter 1 card because we have the 5 gold. We have all the keywords. We're ready to rock. And then, for my last AP, I'm getting the heck out of the Grand Plains, and we'll either head to the Shrouded Glade or the Rising Bluffs, depending on what the next chapter is. We'll see that in the next video at the very beginning. Hope you guys are enjoying the playthrough. If you saw anything that I messed up on, let me know. Again, super apologize for that crazy, ridiculous dice that I've got going on here and the fact that I didn't have the counter set right, but there is, in fact, 10 night cards, or I should say locations into Gloom, which means 10 night cards have been pulled to this point. We are ready to go. So hope you'll join me in the next episode. Thanks always for your feedback, and keep on rolling solo.